Welcome to the World Builder's Anvil, episode 156, Building Character.
Don't know where to start building your fantasy world? Do you need more? Does it make sense? Forget any worries and become a crafter of imagination. This is the place that will help prime your mind. Now, it's time to heat up the forge, break out the mithril ingots and hammer. Welcome to the World Builder's Anvil. I'm your host, Jeffrey W. Ingram. Let's sup from the mug of Java and build. Welcome back. As always, I'm your host, Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And I'm Michael Miller.
And today we're here with a special third co-host.
My name's Kristin Ingram.
Yay!
I think this is the first time all three of us have been on a podcast together.
I believe you're right.
I think so. You guys weren't on my podcast before, huh?
Nope.
No. Oh, man. That was a loss.
Yes, it was. Okay, so I'm very excited. I have an announcement to start off, and
announcements.
A big announcement. I recently have given notice at my job. If all goes as to plan, the end of February, I will be leaving my day job and be focusing full time on the little internet company that Kristin and I are starting to build. So that's very exciting.
Hooray!
Yay!
Which actually kind of helped lead into this episode because we've been dreaming very large recently. And we find the larger we dream, the more we push ourselves to be a better person, to be able to get to where we want to go. We're dreaming so big now that if we fall and get a 25%, we will have outstanding lives. So so we came up with this thing for our other show, Small Biz Life, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. I'm pointing below like people can see that on the audio podcast. But essentially the idea is we came up with an assessment because the thing we've noticed is a lot of people seem to dream very small. And I think this comes out of this evolutionary survival sense that we have built in. It's safe to dream small because, if I dream that I get 100 new followers on Twitter next year, that's pretty easy to achieve. There's no anxiety from dreaming. So our theory is if you dream really, really large, that even if you miss it, even if you don't get your dream, you're going to love where you are at in life. So that's kind of the whole idea of this episode. And along with the announcement, I want to welcome everyone to 2017. Radio Jeff has shown up for the episode.
Don't make me pull out Fast Track Michael. I am super excited about this. We kind of teased this a while back, let everybody know that 2017 is going to be big. I didn't even know that Jeff, until a couple nights ago, Jeff and Kristin were kind enough to take me and my wife out to dinner as like a thank you and like a business dinner. And we talked about all the things that they're planning this year. And a lot of it is going to be so great for you guys to be a part of and help this community grow. And then Jeff told me he's quitting his full-time job. And I'm like, wow, now that's big. That's exciting because now, we should see a nice transition into a more a quality product for you guys just because Jeff will have more time to commit to it. And in a perfect world, we build this enough that I can eventually quit my full-time job too. Hooray!
Yay!
And the world will be one.
And Kristin too, if she wants.
Oh, no. I thought she was going to support the both of us.
Yeah, no, that's not how that works.
That wasn't the part I thought. Wait, was that wrong? That wasn't right. Oh. We should probably sit down and talk about this a little.
I think you missed that part of the plan.
I think I invented that part of the plan.
So I didn't get that memo.
Jeepers, I had better call my boss and call him dirty names now.
How do I undo the poo I left on his desk? Is there a way to reverse that process?
Yes, by dreaming big that it's not there. It's not
there, Jeff. It's not there. Anyway, so today's episode, while it is titled Building Character, we're going to be talking about you. We're going to be talking about us. We're not talking about building your fictitious character. We're talking about making you the best you can be.
And the idea is sort of, we build characters all the time, and we build these characters. Some of them are huge, some of them are small, intimate things. But what happens, and this would be really easy for all of the role players, you know, what happens if you had a chance to build yourself as the character you wanted to be? Not wanted to be like next year or in 20 years, but if you had no limitations on your life, what would your life look like? What are the kinds of things you could do if you could build a character that way?
Well, and I think for a lot of role players, there's a piece of themselves in every character that they build. You know, so maybe, you know, if you're slightly overweight, you know, you create this character that kind of looks like you, but is really buff and in good shape and has all these great, you know, physical skills. And think about actually doing that kind of dreaming in reality.
Well, you know, I mean, I don't have to dream about being pretty. I'm just blessed that way naturally.
You're a very pretty, pretty man.
Yeah. But, you know, and there's an assessment that we've put up at smallbizlife.com/dreambig.
Yep.
And if you go there, sign up, you will have a email copy to you. It's an Excel form. We've had a few people fill it out already. We're excited because they're excited. But essentially the idea of it is it's sort of looking at it as a sheet to build a description for a character. But the character is you. And if you go to smallbizlife.com/dreambig, there will be an opt-in for the email for our other podcast. And when you sign up for that, it will actually take you to a page where there will be a video that will actually, I forget how long it is, I say about 25 minutes, where we go through in detail and explain how to fill out this assessment. And it can be hard to do. It's very easy for us to dream about fictitious characters, but it's very hard to dream about yourself. But the thing is, if you're always shooting for just where you want to get, if you fall short, you won't be there. You know, if you dream really big, you will actually, even when you fall short, you will exceed your expectations in life. You will have bigger expectations for life. It'll allow you to get to places to where you can either leave your day job so you can work on geeky role-playing stuff and business podcasting all day. I mean, that is a dream for me. I love doing this kind of stuff, and I love to be in that position. And I would love it if other people could get there as well too. So even if you're not planning to leave your day job, it's still a good exercise to go through to see what would you look like if you didn't have any limitations.
And, you know, one of the things I really like about it is, you know, we've talked in Small Biz Life before about creating goals that are smart. And that means, you know, the R stands for realistic. And I think the problem is that people get stuck there and they don't dream big in order to create a realistic goal that they can work on right now.
Yeah, they try and create smart dreams too. And where I think smart goals will get you to a good place throughout the year, especially if you can modify them and add stretch goals to them. Like both podcasts did so well last year, I kept having to add stretch goals for where the downloads are going to be.
And when you're saying smart goals, you are referring to the SMART system, not just an intelligent goal, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The
Okay,
SMART
so
system.
we may want to, I don't know if you want to explain that now or just add it to show notes.
So the SMART system, I think the thing that really holds people back, your goals should be specific, measurable, action-oriented, which the assessment will help you create action items, realistic, and time-sensitive. And I think when we're not thinking bigger, then we just stop at that realistic part and we're like, okay, well, it's realistic for me to, you know, maybe pay off my car in 4 years. And you're not thinking about, okay, I want to make $1 million a year. Well, in order for me to do that, you know, what steps do I have to take? And that's kind of where some of the realistic things come in. So you create those realistic action items. But unless you're dreaming really big, it's going to be hard to even pay off the car.
Yeah. I mean, because essentially when you dream big, it adds an emotion that connects your SMART goals, your SMART action items to your dream. So if you know that you're working on an area of your life, let's say you want to get to your dream job, which let's say, for instance, happens to be being a world builder, storyteller, and podcaster. If I could think of someone like that, I'm not sure if I can, but if that's one of your dreams, that's good, but that's not even big enough. Big dreams are bigger than yourself. They involve you and your impact on the world beyond you. So, one of my dreams is I want to help bring high-speed internet to Belize, because I feel like I can't move to Belize because their internet is not fast enough. And to me, all the people who live in Belize suffer from this, because in the age of the internet, they could actually be creating their own livelihoods using the internet to reach out to the world, and they can't do that. So not only could I benefit if Belize had high-speed internet, because I could move to a wonderful seaside villa, but the people of Belize could actually do better as well. Say again?
I believe it's Via.
Via? Poncho?
No, Villa. Via.
Via? No. Not Bedrachum.
I love how you always fall back on that. Well, in Bedrachum, it's not pronounced that. Maybe in Spanish.
This is why he makes up his own languages.
Because he's so bad at this one.
Yes.
So we were covering SMART goals, and then we tangent. Are we ready for?
Well, we're starting to talk about dreams. It's all about dreams ultimately, and it's for you to create those checklists in your life to get done, to get to where you want to go. You need that emotion, and that's the reason why the Dreamcatcher assessment is actually hugely important. And for a lot of you, it's going to be iterative. You're going to go through it. You're going to get to the next step. You're going to realize that that's not big enough. Like for me, I just achieved what I would have said was my dream last year today. If I can think I can achieve it next year, it's not big enough. It has to be bigger. It's always bigger. It should be bigger than you.
Well, and I think it takes kind of a change in mindset. Like I know when you started this podcast 2 years ago, I started calling you a fantasy writer. People would be like, what does your husband do? He's a fantasy writer.
Yeah.
And starting March 1st, you'll be a full-time fantasy writer.
Yes. Starting March 1st, I'll be a full-time fantasy writer, world building podcaster, and small business podcaster. Woohoo.
Oh, see, I prefer to look at both of you as media moguls.
Media moguls?
That's my job.
Where do we go here? Do you want to give them a quick sum up of what the Dreamcatcher assessment actually is? So
what this assessment is going to do is it's kind of like, a character building exercise, because what we're going to ask you to do is we're going to ask you to look at 6 areas of your life. So think about most of the characters you've ever built. You're looking at how high do I want my strength to be? How high do I want my intelligence to be? So we kind of pick these 6 areas that we think will end up helping you become, that well-rounded, awesome, best person that you can be. And so those 6 areas are business and career, finances, relationships, health, spiritual and emotional, and lifestyle and hobbies. And I'm hoping that your community is really good with the hobbies part.
Yeah, if this community cannot knock the hobbies out of the park, we are in trouble. I think Michael alone has over 400,000 hobbies.
It will, and I sometimes wonder if it's wrong. But the way I work with hobbies, it's kind of funny. I've had people in my life accuse me of being obsessive compulsive about a given thing, because once I find a new hobby, I dive into it so hard. Like I'll be like, oh, here's a new thing, and I'll drop a couple $1,000s on a new hobby over the course of like 3-4 months. I will live and breathe it. I'll be watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts about it, and buying literature about it, and just doing research and reading articles, and like Magic the Gathering, airsoft, photography, bunches of different video games. My current obsession is I've just discovered Hearthstone. There's just so many things. So, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that perspective. But for me, you're right. I have gotten into so many different things over the years. It's kind of nuts.
So after you've determined the best version of yourself, and like, I want you to dream like really, really big. I did this with my mastermind group, and one of the mastermind members, she was like, I want to have the money to buy the house that we're living in. And I was like, okay, no bigger. And she was like, okay, well, she's like, I want to buy the whole block. And I want to tear down the 2 houses behind us so that we have a parking lot for our friends. And then we're going to keep the house next door so our friends have somewhere to stay when they visit us. And I was like, boom, boom. She's building a compound.
Yes.
Another one of the people in my mastermind said that she wanted to bike the northern and southern routes of the United States, which, if you think about that type of project, that's, you have to be in incredible physical health. You have to have the financial resources, because this is probably a 3 or 4 month trip just doing the northern part. So you have to have, the money to be able to take that time off, hire a crew to go with you. You have to have the bike, you have to have multiple bikes. So that was like a huge goal. So that's the kind of thing, is like, we want you to think like, if you created yourself as a character, right, and had unlimited skill points, what would you look like?
Oh, I'd be so min-maxed. And even though I think I did do a cross-country biking over the weekend, though, so I have that one down. But for other people, that might be a big goal. But, I think the thing to remember is,
do you even know how a bicycle works?
Hey, we have bicycles and we use them.
Oh, that's right. You guys do have bicycles.
Yes, we do have bicycles. But the thing I want to get to is here, you have to understand, depending on where you're at in life, financially, in any of these 6 categories, you're only going to be able, what seems like a huge dream might not seem like a huge dream in 10 years. For example, 10 years ago my wife had cancer. In that stretch of time, I had just started up a business, which was losing money at a breathtaking pace because I didn't understand how to bootstrap a business like I do today. And the tools weren't as available to do it back then either. But we had built up $220,000 of consumer debt. That's not mortgage debt. That is consumer debt. We had just bought a house a year before this happened too. And the thing was, our dream was to get rid of that consumer debt. And that's something that we had achieved, relatively simple, but we couldn't see past that at that point. We knew that we were going to be bigger than that, and we knew we could get through that, but we were dreaming for where we wanted to be. But now the shift we've taken is we want to dream bigger than we think we can achieve.
Well, and I think the thing that's interesting is when we really started accelerating paying off the debt, it was when we stopped focusing on paying off the debt and we started thinking about all the travel we could do, the giving that we could do once we moved past the debt. So when we started dreaming further down the line, because I think we paid off $140,000 of that debt in about 18 months.
Yeah.
So when we started kind of pushing beyond just thinking about that step, we made so much more progress. And that's what we're asking you to do, is when you dream really big and really audaciously, then you'll make more progress on the step you're working on right now.
Because it's just the emotion is there. It's one thing to say, well, my budget for this week was $125 and I spent $126, fail. But when you have a dream of what you can do with the extra money, once you hold your budgets, then it becomes, I get, $50 of excess money a month, $40, something like that. How often do I not even spend it?
Most months.
Sometimes I'll get an additional coffee here or there. I use that to buy video games, to buy certain things that aren't business related, which is much different today than it was before. But the thing is, when I started having the emotion behind it, I became so cheap in my day-to-day life, because now having 3 coffees a day from Starbucks wasn't more appealing to me than where we were going, where we were going to get to. And as we start getting closer and closer, it built up my momentum. So the trick is, no matter how stuck you are in one part of your life, as far as you can see yourself going, take just a step further. Take just a step further. And in 5 or 10 years, your dream might change in that area completely. So it's something you have to keep going back to, maybe once a year. But it's one of those things that if you do it, if you can really find things that you love that you think could make you better, like if you would have told me 10 years ago, we'd be giving away several $100s a month to charity, I would have called you crazy, because we didn't have it. There's no way. We could barely pay off the bills we had. And now, I'm like, that's nice. I wish I could do more.
The part of this whole conversation reminds me, it's almost a movement. There's multiple books on it. I think one of them is called Game Your Life. I used to have them on my Amazon, or I would pull them up right now. But it's the concept of creating. I'm not saying it's exactly what the process that Kristin is talking, the dream catcher assessment, is not identical to what I'm referring to, but what I'm about to say may be more accessible to the gamer mindset, is gamifying your life. And if you haven't heard of that, you just look up Gamify Your Life. You will find lots of material and books on it, where there's apps for it, where you can literally be like, okay, if I do 10 push-ups, if I do like a small workout, and I do that workout every day for 2 weeks, then I improve my strength by 1 level. And then I have to do it for 4 weeks to get to level 2. So it motivates you. It gives you a way to measure what you're doing, as opposed to, oh man, I got to get up and work out today. It can be daunting to look at a task that you're not sure how to quantify success in it. You're not sure how to measure what you're doing that's improving your situation. And the idea of gamifying it is not quite exactly what Kristin is talking about, but there might be a helpful way to approach the method.
Well, that's definitely true. And gamification are things I do in my life, but those are for tasks. Those are to help keep me interested in mundane tasks that I have to do. With the Dreamcatcher assessment, we're not asking you to create tasks. We're asking you to create a huge dream. And then we'll work you down to some ideas that you can work on, which will become the tasks. And then gamification is a great way to help encourage you to get those done. Most definitely. There's an RPG habit, which is kind of like something very similar to what Mike is saying, is one I've used in the past. Michael. Where you, who? My goal for next year is to call you Michael.
I don't think that's part of your goal.
No, it's not. It's not. One of my dreams is you understand your name is Mike.
What's funny is earlier Jeff was talking about, like at the dinner, we also talked about me building a brand, and my gamer tag on Xbox Live is Mayshot. So one of the hangouts to connect on this podcast recording Jeff was looking at was Mayshot, and he pronounced it wrong. I'm like, no, it's not. Would you say Mashad or Mashud or something? I was like, and that's not how you say it. I'm like, it's Mayshot. And he's like, look, you got to get that I'm just going to pronounce everything around you wrong, always,
And blame it on Badrachum.
Yeah.
Not for Michael's name. No. That's just me being...
What is my name in Badrachum?
Poopy Pants.
Knew you were going to go with a poop reference.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you think it's funny.
I am so amused with myself right now. That's one of those things where, the reason we say we're talking about dreams, the problem is typically when people have tasks, the reason you need gamification is because you don't have the emotion attached to it. And so like, and we've talked about this in the past, when you're doing a world building project, when you're doing a novel, come up with a mission statement. Really, your dream vision is the mission statement for your life. It's the character I wish I could build. And some of them are very difficult. Like, I have a bum knee. Michael knows this, and Mike does as well too. And so does Kristin. But the idea is that if, I have to dream bigger than my busted knee. So if I can't see myself as healthy, if I can't see the benefits of being able to get around to get to more ruins, to be able to walk around and take photographs all over wherever I am, if I can't see myself doing those tasks, which takes health, because I say, oh, I have a bad knee, I'm not doing that. So when I'm creating my dream, I ignore the fact that I have a bum knee. And then as I work it down into those action items, I sit there and I try and figure out ways to mitigate the knee pain, which I've come up with some very good techniques at the end of this last year, so I can actually exercise more. And if I can exercise more, I can walk around and do more photographs, which means I will actually be able to be healthier just from doing things that I love to do, so I can combine my hobbies with exercise. So that's really why we're saying dream and dream first, because it will give you the emotion, that desire to say, even if I don't become that person, if I could get a quarter of the way there or half of the way there, I would love my life so much.
Well, and I think that you've done this process well when you look at these 6 areas and you're really excited and you're kind of scared.
Yeah.
That's when you've done it.
Are you all set, Michael?
Oh, I was just giving a thumbs up and agreeing.
Oh, I thought you were like, pause.
Nope. I was like, yes, that's good. I like it.
Oh, so you were done. What were you saying? I saw the hand and I thought pause.
Is this clear? I'll do that next time?
That's the only one I recognize.
It's the one you see the most.
You're holding back for Kristin. No. So, really take advantage of this. Use this first, even if you've already done your goals. Don't scrap your goals at this point, but go figure out what is your dream, and make it bigger. Make it bigger. Now, you don't need the assessment to do that, but the assessment will help you iterate through the process. It'll make you stop and go, "Am I there yet? Is it boiled down enough yet?" And that's really where the assessment itself will come in handy. So take advantage of it. It's free. You won't even have to wait for the first email to land in the box. As soon as you sign up for the newsletter for the Small Biz Life, it will direct you to a page that has that assessment on there. So you can start the work right away, and we encourage you to do it. You can comment right on that page as well too, and we'll follow the page and give people feedback. If you belong to the Fantasy Undercroft group on Facebook, I'll put a link in the show here. You can ask questions there, or if you belong to the Small Biz Life community, you can ask questions there as well too. So,
and if you guys haven't picked up on it yet, and I'm sure anyone in the Undercroft has noticed, and I would imagine that most of our listeners get this, but I don't know how much exposure the World Builder listeners have to Kristin's shows, and both your guys' show, Small Biz Life. But Jeff and Kristin both are such, and me too, are such a big stand for you getting the most out of yourself and your life. I mean, this show, while Jeff and I, are just nerding out a lot of the times, almost you go back and look at like all the subjects of the shows and the content, we're putting it out there to help you guys be better writers, world builders, role players, gamers. Kristin and Jeff's show is about making you more financially secure and helping build your life better so you don't have to worry about money. All of this is just so that we can put information out there that we've been exposed to so that you guys can live a full and happy, healthy life, because that's what we want for you guys. Mm-hmm. And we want you to share it with us. Like that's why the Undercroft exists, and moving forward, all this is just going to get bigger and bigger. So.
Well, and I think ultimately, a lot of people in this community, they want to do that thing that they're passionate about full time. And we see this assessment as a way to build yourself up, whether it's the business side of things that are holding you back, that you're trying to sell your books and you're not, making the traction you want, or, financially, maybe of student loans or credit card debt, that's keeping you from being able to move forward, and pay the money for maybe an editor to get your book out there. And so the thing that we're trying to do is we're trying to get you to see a vision of your life where you can do all those things.
Yep. So I think for Michael and I, we think this is a great way to start off the year. And Michael is completely correct, so I'll say his name right for once.
Thank you.
We love this community and we love the people who interact with us, whether it's through group or through Twitter or however you find a way to do it. So please take a moment, go to the show notes on garduel.com. There will be links to all of this stuff here. It'll be episode 156. Michael does have an apology for screwing up the episode numbers in all of the previous shows when he wasn't on, because he wrote them down wrong and correctly in my brain. But we seem to have the proper episode number going here today, which is because I've had to take control of that.
And it's a good thing, because I would just keep messing with it. While you're mentioning the website, I also want to put out there, I assume a lot of people in the holidays have received their Amazon gift cards. I've actually got a $50 one sitting right in front of me here. I'm respectfully going to request that if you guys are going to do your post-Christmas shopping, that please go to www.garduel.com/Amazon. It's just going to push you straight to Amazon, and it helps out the show for us to continue to give you guys great content.
So thank you very much. And today only, strike twice while the myth rolls hot.
Thank you so much for listening to the World Builders Anvil. We would love it if you would share the World Builders Anvil with 2 of your friends, and so would they. If they are unfamiliar with podcasts, then you get to introduce them to the wonderful world of podcasting by showing them Stitcher or iTunes, or, best of all, just send them to our website, www.garduel.com. That's GARDUL.com.
Now strike while the myth rolls hot.